The Grand Council chamber had never sounded so alive. Applause rolled through the vast hall like thunder, echoing off crystalline pillars that stretched toward a ceiling lost in light. Delegates from 100 civilizations rose from their seats, limbs and crests lifted in ritual celebration. Bioluminescent frills flared, metallic mandibles clicked approval. Even species that rarely displayed emotion allowed themselves the luxury of triumph. At the center of the chamber, a colossal hologram of Earth rotated slowly. It was a broken thing now. The planet's blue oceans were dulled beneath ash-stained cloud cover. Orbital defense rings lay shattered, their fragments forming glittering scars around the globe. Thousands of dead satellites drifted aimlessly, silent witnesses to the final hours of resistance. Red markers pulsed across the continents, cities neutralized, population centers erased, command bunkers penetrated. The Deathworld had fallen. The supreme arbiter of the Kala Dominion rose from its elevated dais, towering over the assembly. Its ceremonial staff struck the obsidian floor once, the sound sharp and final. "Let it be entered into the eternal record," the arbiter declared, its voice amplified and translated into every known tongue, "that the human resistance has ended. Earth has been pacified." A surge of cheers answered it. The final battle replayed on the main screen. Human warships burned in low orbit, their hulls rupturing under sustained fire. Desperate maneuvers ended in bright, brief flashes as vessels collided or detonated. Fragmented transmissions crackled through the feed. Orders shouted over alarms, farewells cut short, voices swallowed by static. The Council watched with satisfaction. Humans had fought hard, harder than projections suggested. They had refused surrender even when defeat became mathematically certain. But bravery without inevitability was still failure, and the galaxy had learned long ago that numbers always won. A delegate from the Sarathi poured a shimmering liquid into a faceted cup. "To inevitability," it toasted. "To order," another replied. "To the end of Deathworld defiance." At the rear of the chamber, a junior analyst hesitated. Their species was small, unimposing, not accustomed to interrupting history as it was being written. Their claws trembled over a data slate, flickering with warnings. "Honored delegates," they began carefully, "our long-range sensors are registering anomalies beyond the outer—" "Later," the arbiter snapped, striking the floor again. "Do not stain this moment with static." Laughter rippled through the chamber. The analyst shrank back, silenced by protocol and by the crushing weight of consensus. The Earth hologram zoomed in, highlighting the last confirmed human fleet formation. Its remnants scattered, engines failing, weapons depleted. A caption appeared beneath it. "Hostile capability neutralized." The Asari delegate leaned forward, eyes reflecting the dying planet's glow. "What of the survivors?" it asked casually. "Those who fled underground. The off-world colonies." The arbiter's mouth curved into a thin, practiced smile. "They will be absorbed where useful," it said, "re-educated where resistant, forgotten where inconvenient." A murmur of approval followed. This was the natural order. Deathworld species either learned their place or were made examples of. The hologram dimmed slightly, as if Earth itself were fading. Atmospheric fires spread across the continents, glowing veins of orange and red. For a fleeting moment, one could almost imagine the planet breathing its last. The Council rose as one. Hands, claws, tendrils, and talons lifted in ceremonial unity. Victory chimes rang through the chamber, harmonizing across frequencies no single species could hear alone. The galaxy was safe again. Loud worlds had been quieted, chaos reduced. Then the alarms began. At first, it was just a low tremor beneath the applause, a vibration so subtle many thought it part of the celebration. Then, warning lights flared crimson across every surface. Translation matrices stuttered. Gravity stabilizers groaned. The Earth hologram shattered into static. "What is this?" the Arbiter demanded, slamming its staff down again. The junior analysts screamed as their slate overloaded, symbols bleeding into one another. Mass energy spikes detected. Not near Earth. Nowhere near Earth. They're coming from... The chamber lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then every system in the Grand Council chamber went dark. Applause died mid-gesture. Victory chants collapsed into confusion. For the first time in generations, the rulers of the galaxy stood in true darkness, surrounded not by certainty, but by the sudden creeping realization that celebration might have been premature. Darkness held the Grand Council chamber for a fraction of a second too long, not the controlled dim of emergency protocols, but absolute absence. No light, no hum of systems, no reassuring vibration of gravity stabilizers. A silence so complete it pressed against the senses, triggering instincts most species believed evolution had buried. Then the main display ignited, not gradually, violently. Every screen in the chamber flared to life at once, overriding security locks, bypassing command hierarchies, asserting control with impossible authority. The image that filled the air was not Earth. It was nothing, the void between stars. Coalition sensors scrambled to interpret the feed. Distance markers flickered, failed, recalculated, and failed again. Energy readings spiked beyond recognized limits, not in a single point, but stretched across a widening arc of space that should have been empty. Space folded. Delegates watched in horror as the darkness itself warped, collapsing inward like fabric caught by an unseen hand. Lines of blue-white light traced impossible geometries, forming seams where no seams should exist. Then the first shape emerged. A massive silhouette slid out of the distortion without thrust, without heat bloom, without any recognizable drive signature. Its hull was angular and scarred, matte black broken by veins of cold blue light that pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Another followed, then another. The void disgorged warships by the hundreds, then the thousands. Carriers so vast they dwarfed coalition flagships. Cruisers arranged in disciplined formations, vessels of unfamiliar classes, sleek, brutal shapes clearly designed not to impress, but to end things. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Some delegates stumbled back from their consoles. Others collapsed into their seats as sensor overlays populated the feed with data that made no sense. "No hyperspace wake," a tactical officer whispered. "No jump signatures. They didn't arrive." "They were already there," the junior analyst said hoarsely. "Hidden, cold, waiting." The realization hit the chamber like a shockwave. Earth's defense fleet, the desperate stand, the burning ships, the heroic last transmission, had never been humanity's full strength. It had been a curtain, a sacrifice staged carefully enough to convince the galaxy that the Deathworld had fought with everything it had. While the real fleet waited in silence beyond the edges of perception, a single transmission cut through the chaos. No encryption, no language barriers. It carried itself across every frequency with quiet confidence, as if resistance had never been considered. A human voice spoke, calm, even unhurried. "You mistook our home for our heart." The camera perspective shifted, pulling back to reveal the true scale of the armada. The human fleet stretched across the void like a moving horizon, its formation precise to the millimeter, each vessel positioned with deliberate intent. "Earth was never the end of us," the voice continued. "It was our cradle." Weapon systems across the fleet came online, not firing, not posturing, but awakening. Space hummed with restrained power. Coalition defense grids across multiple sectors failed simultaneously, overridden by commands that didn't attack their firewalls so much as step around them. The Arbiter staggered back, ceremonial staff clattering to the floor. "Impossible," it whispered. "Your industry was shattered, your fleets destroyed." A soft exhale preceded the human's reply. "No," the voice said, "they were expended." Data streams flooded the chamber. Visualizations of human logistics unfolded, mobile shipyards hidden in stellar debris fields, fleets grown in darkness, supply chains routed through unmapped gravity wells. Humanity had not rebuilt after previous wars. They had adapted. We learned early, the human voice went on, that Deathworlds don't survive by standing still. We learned that showing everything you have invites extinction. Coalition military AI units attempted threat projections. Every simulation ended the same way: cascading failure, strategic collapse, unacceptable loss within hours. Some delegates shouted for surrender, others demanded immediate retaliation. The human fleet advanced, not at full speed, not aggressively, relentlessly. "You celebrated Earth's fall," the voice said, no accusation in it, only statement. "That was understandable. You saw what we wanted you to see." The Arbiter's voice trembled. "You lost billions." "Yes," the human replied, "and we will mourn them, but not today." The fleet shifted formation, lines straightened, distances closed with terrifying patience. "Today," the voice concluded, "we end the idea that humanity can be defeated by destroying a planet." The transmission cut. In the sudden quiet that followed, the Council finally understood the truth too late to change it. Earth's fall had not been a defeat. It had been permission, and as the human fleet emerged fully from the void, the galaxy learned what happens when a Deathworld stops defending itself and starts advancing.